Dear learners, welcome to this module on key business processes for a seamless supply chain. Integrating various players in a supply chain into a single functioning unit is a big challenge to meet for most supply chains. Here we take a look at how this might be achieved using a standard approach. Learning objectives. Understand the supply chain maturity framework. Explain external integration strategies in the supply chain. Learning outcomes. At the end of this session, the student should be able to 1. Adapt supply chain maturity framework to real-life supply chains. 2. Identify external integration strategies for supply chain. Supply chain maturity framework. Consider a supply chain dealing with soaps. Let's assume a retailer has ordered for ABC brand of soap 20 cases along with 30 other brands of soap. ABC brand alone doesn't arrive, and you have a customer walking in and asking for ABC brand of soap. Problems. Let's consider another case. The retailer has 20 cases of another brand of soap. Let's call it XYZ. Now this brand of soap is not selling at all. It's sitting on your shelf and you can do nothing about it. You can't use the shelf for anything else. Let's consider another example. Assume there is a brand called PQR. The customer consistently complains that the PQR has quality issues, but this information does not reach the manufacturer. He has no idea, but the customer is complaining about quality. Now, we have seen 3 problems. Why do you think these problems happen? Are they supply chain problems or can they just be written away? Let's consider another case. The factory of soap brand XYZ dispatches the soap to the retailer. The transport breaks down on the way. Soap does not arrive at the retailer spot. This is because of heavy rains which have damaged the roads. You think you have a problem here? Let's consider another case. A factory has shut down on account of worker strike. They stopped manufacturing for weeks at a stretch. There is a huge demand for the soap at the retailer's end, but stocks are just not coming. Will it be possible for the retailer to contact other stockists or other transportation people to supply these extra stocks on time? What kind of information do you think is essential to deal with the problems mentioned? How do you think you can achieve the task of giving the customer precisely the brand of soap that he wants? What should be the attitude of various players? Could be the transportation, could be the factory, could be the retailer. How should they behave with each other so that the final customer is served with the product he or she wants? Do you think it's possible for the players to collaborate at all? What are the benefits of having such an initiative among all the players that they collaborate with one another? All the problems discussed are because of a lack of collaboration and integration between the various players in the supply chain. The lack of coordination leads to different players in the supply chain taking different kinds of decisions totally out of sync with each other. As a result, the voice of the final customer is drowned somewhere along the way as it moves upwards towards the upstream players in the supply chain. This kind of problem leads to all kinds of wrong information flows, wrong stocking, excess delays, wrong products being shipped, and whatnot. This initiative that is taken to bind all the players in the supply chain into one single working unit is known as external integration in the supply chain. External integration, though extremely simple to understand and conceive, has been extremely difficult for most modern supply chains to achieve. We hardly have any supply chain out there which is fully externally integrated. Most of the firms which are working on supply chain integration in India and the world over have achieved only internal integration. They are still way off the mark when it comes to external integration. This includes some of the leading brands of soaps, consumer goods, FMCG industries, and whatnot. Can you believe it? Some of these firms who have invested billions of dollars in supply chain integration are yet to achieve results in getting a properly integrated supply chain on the external front. Very few players have managed to crack the external integration barrier. One such firm happens to be Toyota Motor Corporation. It's one of the rare auto companies which does not push or dump vehicles onto the dealers and distributors. It works on a perfect pull, and this has been accomplished because of great deal of external supply chain integration. None of the other auto companies in India have been able to achieve such a high degree of external supply chain integration. We have considered some problems in supply chain because of integration issues. Now, what kind of information do you think is required to deal with this situation? What is the infrastructure required if we are to sort out these problems? What do you think the various players should have as an attitude if we are to deal with this problem collectively? Do you think it's possible to get all the players to collaborate with one another in spite of differing attitudes, differing goals, differing priorities, and differing problems? Do you think they're going to accept talking to each other, or do you think each one is going to set a few of their problems on the back burner so that the overall supply chain is benefited? What do you think will be the benefits of getting all the players to collaborate in the first place?